Oh, I see the recording dot now too. So
yeah, I paid that $15. I had to upgrade, although I still haven't figured out.
That's how they get you. They gave you a little bit of the cool for free. And it was like, if you want more, you gotta pay.
Chris, in the old days, we had no problem with that setup. I'm like, that sample got you a customer, girl. But all right, I gotta do the little intro and shit. Hopefully I'll get down to a better setup. But whatever. For now, right now, this is still achieving my goal. You know what I mean? It's a distraction from being cooped up all day and everything that's going on. Everybody, whoever gives a shit, this is my dog, Ricky. I know him since a time before, long back in the past, before the movie theaters had the great shutdown.
So long.
Your ass beat for going in the theater starting shit. They beat you up on Christmas. I was there for that. What year?
What was the year? Christmas beatdown.
Yo, it was like Lord of the Rings beatdowns. It was like I saw grown women in packs of 5 fighting. People was getting bathroom.
I remember it was crazy, but when my shift ended, I was still like, I'm gonna leave. I'm going home. Like I don't care enough.
Yeah, you weren't there for that. Yeah, that was crazy. All right, I already did the intro. It's my dog Ricky. Today's the 25th of April.
Yes, it is.
We're going to be talking about one movie especially. It's a Van Damme movie, and I'm gonna just throw it out there right now. I think my dog from now on, Ricky, is going to be the Van Damme specialist. You know what I'm saying?
You know, if anyone was to be named the Van Damme specialist, I'm very surprised it's Ricardo and not me. You know, it seems like he loves action so much that if he were to have been watching a lot of Van Damme movies, that he would have been the Van Damme expert.
Me and him are in the same boat where we have our experience in old movies is fun, but there's some we haven't saw and some we just remember kind of fondly in general. But when you told me Bloodsport was probably your favorite Van Damme movie of all of them, you know, from your childhood, I was like, yeah, I mean, and then you suggest another Van Damme movie. I'm like, all right, from now on, not counting Cyborg, yeah, I mean, man, you can just knock all the Van Damme movies out. I still want to do a Cliffhanger with Mike, though. I feel like that's a good 90s.
Cliffhanger is Stallone, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, especially if, like you said, we decide. That's why I didn't chip in too much via the text. If we decide to do what movie you said we should do another one, I like the idea of deciding it live. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about Bloodsport, but I really want to wrap up the Big Lebowski because that shit. I'm glad we saw that. Like I always wanted to see it, but I just never got around to it. And now all this time at home, hence I like the concept. I'm watching a whole bunch of movies I never saw, but either made an impact or were significant to me for some reason. Like Cyborg wasn't huge like Bloodsport was, but it was by no means a flop. Last night I found out that shit had a $500,000 budget in '89. It made like fucking damn it. Let's say it made like 9 million. That's crazy.
That's like a paranormal.
So Cyborg might not be flipping that.
It's like how they flip paranormal activity. It's always like low budget and but the outcome is big enough for let's make another one.
I hear you, bro, but I kind of want to give Cyborg a little bit more.
No. I'm not saying quality of movie. I'm saying literally that's like how their strategy of those paranormal activity movies have very low budgets. So if they bring in let's say 20, 30 million, that's a huge success for them because they only spent a few million making the movie.
Definitely. I'm just looking at it through the eyes of old movies. I feel like Cyborg is definitely not one of those. It's not looked at by everybody like a Van Damme great. Like you think of.
No. I feel like Cyborg, and even though Time Cop may have a small following, Time Cop still, in my eyes, in that same camp of forgettable, weird Van Damme.
Definitely. Yo, my man from The Arrival, I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing how good a villain he was. And with fresh eyes. Because as a kid, to me, that movie is great. Remember they had the video chat scene in that movie? It was like a big deal because he called the girl called the wrong number. She was half naked. I'm like, oh, you know me. As a kid, I'm like,
the future.
Yeah. Nowadays, ain't no girl who call the wrong number if she's half naked. She can get that right. She was like.
First of all, if she's half naked, she's always calling the right number.
Yeah, you really get the guy complaining. He's like, Yeah. So anyway, oh hey, I'm married, but you called the wrong number.
I'm gonna take this wrong number to the room, girl.
So all right, wait. I got to do my thing where I introduce the beer we drinking.
Bam.
My homie suggested Blue Moon Belgian White. I ain't never had this shit before, and I have the weakest stomach for alcohol out of the whole crew, except for Mike. But Mike don't drink.
Therefore, go ahead, taste it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Wait, we'll do it together.
I'm gonna be honest, dog. That tastes like ass, beer, and coconut.
That's why. Here's my thing on it. And give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, no, that's too strong. Give it a 6 out of 10. It's like a beer taste, but for some reason, it's light enough at the end where it doesn't throw me for a loop. I feel like other beers, like that aftertaste is strong enough where it's like, oh no, I'm turned off. Here, it's like I'm almost turned off. Then she pop a titty out.
I feel like there's only a hint of titty. It's like a girl didn't wash. She farted when she got in my car, and she was like, "I might be attractive later on." I'm like, "You need to get your ass out now." What? Because I won't waste the beer. That's part of the process. Whew. All right, you want to go?
All right, so we're recapping our impressions of Big Lebowski.
Yes.
So I'll start with.
Ooh.
I'm glad I saw it based on the mystique the movie has, because people always talk about it in like
that's why I picked it. Mm-hmm.
in good impression. Like I like the movie. I never hear like someone go, Big Lebowski, that movie was I never hear that. If someone has seen it, they like it. But my thing is, watching it, I liked it, but to me it's a forgettable movie because I've seen movies since then do like that kind of like zany caper, like whodunit kind of thing way better. Plus, other movies create memorable characters, memorable scenarios, a memorable plot, and I always circle back to Jackie Brown. I just saw it like not too long ago, and I thought about this movie because it had so many different personalities blending together for one thing. It reminded me of that, except for like not as well done.
You got to say it for the people, folk. You got to say it.
Well, it's just a poor man's Jackie Brown.
Love it.
It really is, and I feel like focusing on the dude, even though he's so cool, it made other characters weaker by comparison because there's only a few strong characters in the movie and other ones that like you think might be interesting, but you never spend any time with them enough to be anything.
Yes. So you feel like it would have been a better movie had they covered those characters more?
Yeah, like give the dude some screen time because he deserves it. He's a great character.
Yes.
Played great by, I think, Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges, yes.
But like I just feel like other characters who are zany, like the nihilist, I'm like, man, y'all seem crazy. Love to see more of y'all, so I understand your motivation. But I think you literally get like 3 scenes with them in total, and like those 3 scenes are so random. It's like I don't understand your motivation or your reasoning or your relationship or anything else to the person that they're supposed to be kidnapping or whatever.
Yes. I'm gonna take what you did and then because you summarized it very well. So I'll say, as opposed to elaborating more on other characters, they could have cut half the shit in that movie and made it make sense. Like they could. I feel like it was either A or B. Yours is the A, mine is the B. You either explain or give these people some shine, or you cut them out and just focus more on the dude and the cast you've already given us, and give us a nice little bow tie. Tie the gift up real nicely at the end. And they didn't do that. Some movies can have an open-ended kind of ending. When it's a movie like this, I'm very let down by it because it was so aimless for it to be open-ended. It's like, the fuck I spent my time watching this movie for? It wasn't. Some movies are open-ended and it leaves you to ponder what could be. It's deep. This movie ain't gonna be deep. It's just crazy. It has this very cool moments and funny dialogue. Again, I like to reiterate the word I learned for P is micturate. That's great. I would have never thought of a multi-syllabic word to describe peeing other than urinate. And urinate don't sound cool. Everybody, you just pee.
Everybody knows that. That's old-fashioned, old hat.
But micturate, that is great. The movie got off to a great start, and it's like I was taking the aimlessness that it brought because it was full of funny. The Jesus, that scene lived up to the hype for me. Like I'm like, oh, when they gonna show dude? They did, and it was great. And then it's just like all right, how they gonna wrap all this up? And they give you an explanation, but to me, it didn't match the pizzazz and the wow that the beginning brought. You start off great, then it fizzled.
I thought they really don't give you any closure. Like literally, it's just like my man narrating at the end, and that's supposed to be like, oh, that's my take home from this. Is this poor narration they're giving me? That's almost like, oh, because a man with a deep voice is narrating Morgan Freeman style. I'm supposed to act like the rest of this movie had any substance, but it did. It just the movie kind of trails off. Like a person trying to tell you something, they forget it, so they slowly stop talking. Like, yeah, so
but they are. But that person told you the end of the story. It just you felt like you wasted my time with that story because ultimately they explained everything, kind of, you know, like as far as the main plot goes, like why Shorty did X, Y, and Z, and why the other Lebowski, who
is the Big Lebowski, by the way.
Yeah, that's funny because not to get too far off. Fuck it, this is us. This is how we're gonna do it. Me and Rick talked about something as far as the movie Cyborg is concerned.
By the way, am I like wrong in remembering that movie being like he falls in love with a cyborg, right?
No.
Wait, is he the cyborg?
No.
All right, then.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, because I thought she was a cyborg. He falls in love with her, and then he's protecting her from something the entire time.
That would have made more sense than what happened in the movie. Me and Rick shadowed this movie, dog. But again, Rick showed it love. And I don't want you to think Rick was like, oh, it was great. No, Rick was like, yo, I enjoyed it. I'm going to admit that it was stupid. The title Cyborg, I was under the impression that somehow either Van Damme was a cyborg, he had something to do with the cyborg throughout most of the movie, or it was an era in which being a cyborg wasn't uncommon. There was a fucking cyborg introduced in that movie in the beginning. She got to be protected by this dude who she rode with. He get beat up by this notorious mob that always got to roll together. Like the villain, he got these cool shades on, which he always has to take off every fucking time he do something. He like, hey, yo, let's go to get some KFC. He does it like she's the only cyborg in that movie, and she isn't even in the movie that much. They're looking for her to get her from the villain because she can produce a cure because she's collected data. But she's not even in that movie a lot. Like, you know what I mean? They make reference to her. You see her. And then at the end, she's like, damn, yo, I feel like he might save the world as opposed to us. You're like, that wasn't deep. That was freaking stupid.
So is Van Damme like acting alongside someone? Because I swear he was with a woman in the movie.
Yes, he is. He's acting alongside a woman who was like, hey, yo, like, we got to help that lady who they kidnapped. He like, yo, shut up. I want to kill that dude. And she like, well, that's cool because that dude has the lady. He like, you care about her, but I care about getting my revenge on him. But you need to stay somewhere else because I don't want you to get hurt. And she's like, you can't stop me. I want to make sure she's okay. And you're like, why do you think you can do a better job of Van Damme when he just knocked you out with a rock? I am not exaggerating. He threw a rock at her and knocked her out. So she's like, I got to be, since you might be able to do a better job at saving her, but since you don't want to, you're not going to stop me from trying to save her. And they go after the same person.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's like, yo, he basically strong arms the cyborg like, you're going to take me where you was trying to go, and I'm going to win something for myself. You want to do something altruistic, I'm going to make it for me. And she like, okay, because I can't stop you. And he like, I feel like you think you tricking me, but I know better than you. And he's like, this character isn't written well enough to justify why he had to explain that he knew she was going to try and do something. It was like, just make it so that he's just this brute force dude and she has a hidden agenda that they don't even tap into anyway. By the end of the movie, he didn't get a chance to exploit that, and she didn't have to. So the cyborg is a person that's not Van Damme and not even with Van Damme for most of the movie.
Okay, so like, again, my young mind made that movie make more sense than it did.
Yes, just like, don't blame yourself, we was kids. Like I told you, and I told Rick, I had, over the years, mixed Kickboxer and Bloodsport. So I thought that movie was way cooler because I was like, damn, yo, not only did Van Damme beat Bolo Young, I love that dude, by the way, buff-ass Asian dude, but he also beat that dude with the long ponytail on a beach. I remember somewhere in Kickboxer, but I also remember in Bloodsport that there was another tournament. I was like, yo, he was going get people up left and right. He went to 2 different organizations. No, those are 2 separate movies. They wouldn't have had time for Van Damme to be like,
wait, especially in this movie because they did not spend their time wisely at all. So this time would have been all messed up.
no, but I will say this: Bloodsport, Cyborg.
Because Bloodsport is like good movie, Bloodsport. So it's like
yes, but I'll say this: Bloodsport does this. Bloodsport goes like point A, B, C, and you might be like, each time you get to your point, you do it in a kind of poor fashion with like unnecessary antics, and it's like, but we're gonna get there. Cyborg is like A, B. What comes next? I think F. And you're like, no, motherfucker. D, E, E. And you're like, man, F that. I'm going to take a long time before I get to Z. And you're like, you're going to tell me the other letters? And it's like, not really. We're just going to repeat B and B and B and B. Because they do a lot of things several times. And the pacing is shit in Cyborg. It's like, there was gratuitous nudity in Bloodsport. Not the kind that I like. It was Van Damme just pulling up his pants real slow. The fuck? I get it. You got to do something for the ladies, right?
And I feel like it's an odd thing to mention. I'm like, why is he flexing his butt cheeks? Like, just have normal butt cheeks. I feel like he knew he was gonna show his butt, so he's like, I gotta show this butt in optimal form. Because I'm looking at him like, this is a weird butt. I don't like this scene. Is he flexing?
Yes. But then I feel like we got fuck it. To cover that part, that movie had terrible. I guess the direction of photography, because you could see Van Damme waiting to be told to pull up his pants. He was like, okay. It was like, y'all couldn't cut that any better. But Cyborg had the kind I do like.
Okay. The kind almost everyone likes. The almost was a qualifier for like a handful of people in there.
Okay. You know, it was one scene where it was like, you can tell they just threw the titties in there. But I like what they did with it. They actually had like they showed you who his character was, because he was like, put those titties away. You know what I mean? Like, because I still have someone on my mind. I was like, oh, okay. Van Damme wasn't bad in this movie. The movie was just bad. Van Damme.
You know what? That's good to hear that he wasn't bad, because let me tell you, he's never actually good.
I would say he's never great, but for when you go on, if you look at Cyborg, when that movie come on, you know you're not getting the pinnacle of you're not getting a fucking a Christopher Nolan movie as far as acting.
But by the way, I do at some point, like when we watch all these movies, rank the best of Van Damme. Like at some point we gotta start honing in on like, what do we think the best Van Damme movies are?
All right, wait. I gotta ask you this now then. Perfect. How deep you want to go down this rabbit hole, dog?
We can go as deep as possible. What else are we doing?
I
forgot like the movie Lionheart, and I'm like, oh, Lionheart, I gotta watch that again, because in my mind, decent movie.
Okay. How about we do a rapid fire on those?
It's not gonna be like when we deep dive into all these movies. Okay. I'm saying let's watch 5 random Van Damme movies, and then me and you, of the ones we've seen, decide what the best of the best is.
I'll say this: I still feel like shit for picking Bloodsport, and I know how much that meant to you as a kid.
You didn't make that movie, so you don't feel guilty.
But I feel like I might be in the same boat if we watch Double Impact. I love that movie, yo.
You gotta, you know what? Listen, you can still love it on this side and critically analyze it on this side, because young Chris is never gonna get ruined. He's always gonna love that movie. But older Chris needs to learn that movie probably sucks.
I feel like there's only one movie I've been able to do that with, and it's Mortal Kombat. Like, I loved that movie as a kid. No, looking at it now, I'm like, these fight sequences suck. But it still holds that place because they stayed true to the storyline. It wasn't people who didn't give a shit about that movie. Yeah, Christopher Lambert before he looked like. Have you seen him recently?
No.
Don't. I don't know what happened to him.
It's all Highlander Lambert in my mind forever.
Okay, yeah.
But you listen.
What's up?
I was gonna say, like, ooh, always appreciate what Van Damme does. You can never not appreciate what he is, and I feel like we're always gonna appreciate Van Damme, but these movies need to be seen with a clear eye. That's all I'm trying to say. Kids, we like anything. You punch and kick, and I'm like, 10-year-old Ricky's like, you've won the game.
I think you're selling 10-year-old Ricky short, maybe 5-year-old Ricky, because I hated Ninja Turtles 3. I hated that fucking movie, yo.
All right, but like, you're right about that, because that was like, what year was that? 93? I feel like they literally made like movie after movie, like year after year, like 91, 92, 93.
I know it was before 95, I can say that with confidence.
Even like 2 was a little bit of a stretch, but I still was coming off the high of 1.
Definitely. But 2, I didn't realize this as a kid. 2 was only kind of whack because they had to tone the violence down because parents complained.
Nah, that sucks because like 1 is like that perfect line of like just mature enough to be a good movie, without watering anything down. But I will say, April O'Neil from 2, she got my heart. I like 1, great movie, great April O'Neil, but 2, I was like, oh, Ricky can get down on this.
For whatever reason, as a kid, I always thought part 2 was cool, but I knew it wasn't as good as part 1. But it just seemed like it was like a new pair of sneakers. As an adult, since both movies are old, I'm like, you see the descent. It's like 1. And it ain't like 2, but it's like 1, 2. Especially because Super Shredder was like, I ain't doing shit. And it was like, it's a good thing we ain't have to fight him again. He just killed himself. I think that was Kevin.
He's like, I ain't gonna fight y'all. I'm gonna fight these pillars.
Yeah.
Pillar 1, pillar 2. Crash.
Like, cool with us. But I think we did a good enough job summarizing Big Lebowski, right?
I think our overall impression is I like the movie. It just in my mind won't be one of those movies that like I want to see time and time again. You
said it's a poor man's Jackie Brown, which I feel like is a great summarization. I feel like a good alternative to that movie would be Big Trouble with Tim Allen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I like that movie. It was full of crazy characters, but it tied it up nicely, and it wasn't like it never lulled. You know what I'm saying? Remember that? He had like the Geo tracker. I remember that was a big deal. Who was his son in that movie?
I don't know. I'm like a lot of drawing a huge blank on that movie because I thought you were talking about
No, not Big Trouble in Little China.
No. I definitely knew that, but for some reason, like I'm not a big Tim Allen fan. I can never remember most of his movies.
Oh, okay. As a kid, I feel like his movies was on point. Now as an adult, and as an adult, I nitpick at shit. So I realized he was trafficking coke for a little bit. So when he had that little show where he was a conservative, I'm like, nice way to sweep that shit under the rug, huh, bro? Like you shit on rappers and all these people.
Bro, like that show is still going on. They like brought it back. Man. Last Man Standing is still going on.
I'm gonna say this as the Chris who watched Home Improvement as a fucking kid and never really outgrew shit like that. We all over the place. I'm gonna try and dial it in, but fuck that. I gotta say, Last Man Standing isn't a bad show. It's just being an adult and having the least bit knowledge of politics, but more so how people talk about politics. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see one person watch The Godfather and say it's a great movie. They watch The Sopranos. Oh, I love that. And then somebody doing something, and it's the tone of color changes, and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." Like, but you just watched so and so get his face shut off, a dude wearing a suit, and he's a good fella. Now they did it, and they're that's what. As a kid, I liked Tim Allen movies, but his show, he talks, and I know he's portraying a character, but I'm like, some of that inspired by what you feel. Because I
feel like portraying a character is less so in Last Man Standing. I feel like it's just like for the most part who he is.
Yeah,
enough Republican conservatives on TV. Yeah. I'm gonna be that person.
It's real convenient. It's like, because I'm telling you, dog, he was definitely involved in coke trafficking, and everybody's like, "Well, nothing wrong with O'Blow." If you put baking soda in that shit, now you need O'Brown, and all y'all frown on that. I'm gonna get off that though. You know me.
All right, so we're sliding into Bloodsport, and let me tell you, this movie, young Ricky's mind loved it, and I will say, older Ricky right now, 36-year-old Ricky liked it, but man, it had its faults. Like the parts that I like are just watered down by parts that I do not like, and it sucks because like I still like love the kicking. and love the slow-mo and love the screams. For some reason, I still get into that like karate, like persona kind of thing. But man, like it's like they had to adhere to all 80s like guidelines and have like quirky like chase scene, like awesome 80s music, and like half-baked
What I
romance.
love.
Because let me tell you, like I'm not gonna like go into this movie, but I watched Top Gun as like a 35-year-old Ricky and realized that romance is so half-baked that it's like she saw him, she rejected him, she fell in love with him. I was like, whoa, there's no middle ground here. So to me, it was like that romance reminded me of this romance where it's like she saw him, she asked him a question, they in love. I'm like, okay, cool. Like there's no like legwork for love in these 80s movies.
That is, yeah, I like that. All right. if I could summarize it, hold on. I gotta ask you this before I do mine, because I feel like you and Rick are better at this. Me, I spent all day trying to iron out all the details that I had an issue with. If you can give this movie a number, I can't. What would you give it?
I feel like most Van Damme movies are gonna get like a 6 out of 10 for me. Like they're they're slightly better than average, but they like 7 to me is like when you start like trending towards quality, and his movies aren't quite there yet. Like it's like almost, but there's too much stuff holding it back.
Here's what I feel like is the deciding factor. I know it's kind of unfair. It's kind of unfair to ask you this because it's like saying, imagine this, blah blah. If that movie had some random no-name motherfucker who was never in another 80s movie, do you feel like you would give it a 6?
No, wouldn't give a hell. Think about every kickboxer after one. Like I don't care if dude from Step by Step is in it. I don't care.
I forgot all of. Oh man, I thought that was American.
Oh my God, is that a different movie too? I thought he was just in the sequels.
No, American Kickboxer is different.
Oh God, then, all right, then that's an example. I don't care about those movies at all.
I ain't gonna front. I like Cody. Man, I miss dude. And you know, it's not Treat Williams, but that dude who kind of looked like his half brother. It's this dude.
Treat Williams get work.
Surprisingly, yo, and he like the most generic white guy. I'm like, how did you get? Yo, he made that buck, yo. But I'm like, who rock with you? Because he honestly, he looks like he can be in the back of a MacGyver episode, and I would never.
My favorite movie he's in that I don't buy 100% is The Substitute. Don't buy it at all. I'm sorry, Treat Williams.
That was hell, man. Who picked his name? When he was picking Hollywood names, who was like, hey, yo, man, John Williams is too common. You know you got to pick a Hollywood name. And he was like,
Trick right. Or Treat Williams. I don't know why he would say that. Maybe it was like Halloween when he picked it.
Maybe he was a stripper. And it was like, I don't know, that white guy was so generic, but girl, he was helicopter. I don't know.
It was a treat. Circling back to if that was a no-name actor besides Van Damme, would I care? I would not care. I'm guessing you wouldn't care either because the movie's not that great. But I feel like Van Damme is such a star in that time. He carries these like half-hearted movies, but it's like he's still doing his thing in almost each and every movie. So it's hard to deny what he does in the movie, what he provides for the movie.
I feel like I would watch it. Now, would we give a shit present day? No, hands down. But I mean, like, if we were just picking out an old barrel of old movies and shit, you know what I'm saying? Would the movie have still been a good? And again, I agree with you. I would watch it, but I feel like without that Van Damme charisma, because Van Damme is kind of like a person who you could tell, like, he's not bringing much, but you just want to see him do the shit he's doing anyway. Like, yeah, exactly. Like when his bad acting is bad acting.
Oh God, when his bad acting is some of the worst acting. Like when they're trying to develop who this character is, which by the way they do a awful job. Like I never quite understand who this man is, what his motivations are. Like,
I must go to the day because I want to make my teacher proud. Like yo, he dead. Yes,
he's not dead. I thought he was dead, but then he's like, I'm just taking a nap.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because they never at any point say he was gonna die. It was just like, yo, bro, I'm laying down. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm retired. Who knows? He has that 45-minute long flashback, which, by the way, we talked about this flashback before. This flashback was so long that each time it would circle back to him staring, I thought it was over. It would go back to the flashback. I've never seen a multi-tiered flashback where they go back to the person who's thinking about the past moments.
It was a flashback / montage, I'll say.
Like the montages hit like this.
Yeah.
It was like 15-minute scene, staring. 15-minute scene, staring. 15.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this half the movie was him thinking about going to the Kumite. Like, it was so many scenes that they put in that flashback. I'm like, yo, dog, this is half the movie.
Yeah, you kind of feel like, why didn't they just start with that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like that should be the movie. Like, why have in the beginning where he's doing like, oh, I'm a famous army dude. Where they're like, yo, we need you somewhere. And he's like, okay, cool. So then he goes to freaking, oh no, he gets an envelope, right, with an invitation. It was something like that. I forgot. So then he goes to his master's house. His wife, the master's wife, let him in, and then he stares at a wall for like 30 minutes. Then he comes out of it. He's like, all right, master, should I go? And my master's like, dog, I was taking a nap. like, and my mom, and dude, just when you think Van Damme's acting is the worst, his master steps it up with some of the most wooden, unnaturally spoken dialogue I've ever seen from a person in a movie before.
I gotta say this because I remember we both agreed on this. I feel like young Van Damme took that mantle away.
No, he definitely did. But like my man Yoshi spread out over a little bit more time.
I was torn between. Again, this is the '80s. I didn't know whether this Asian man was feeding into the trope of what he knew we as American movie watchers expected from a master, the Shidoshi, as that movie called it. So I kind of felt like, was he like, I can probably talk like this, Hank, but they want to hear me talk like this. You know what I mean? Because it was so exaggerated. I was like, I think this guy's doing it on purpose. It's like he watched Miyagi before Miyagi, and he was like, they probably won't even accept an Asian man without this harsh accent. That's not enough. I'll talk very slowly and labored as if I'm still learning the English language while I'm talking it. So I was kind of like not really bothered by him because I'm like, I think he's just trying to get that check. He know he ain't gonna get that Van Damme.
Oh no, I wasn't bothered by him at all. I was like, cool. It was like a labored effort to get through this super long flashback where it's like, man, this shouldn't be a flashback. It should be, like you said, part of the movie. This should be the movie because it's developing his character. I get it. But like, you're spending so many time thinking like, man, how long has he been in real time staring at that wall is a question I asked myself 3 times in the middle of these flashbacks. Like, did the wife come in, think about asking him for tea, and just turn around like, oh, that he's still staring at the wall?
I was more bothered by the flashback pacing. The Shidoshi had a son who would have went to the Kumite hadn't Van Damme come into play, and his son got waxed. His
By
ass
the way,
got.
they gloss over that entirely. Like, it's like, oh, son dead, move on. I'm like, whoa, it's your son. Like,
how did his son die again?
They never mention it.
Damn.
It's literally like he dies, and you only know he dies because I think they show the urn, like that little like memorial he had. They show it in like the past. Everyone stares at it and goes, sad face. And then he's like, train me. He's like, okay.
He was like a brother to me. I gotta say this, dog. Young Frank Dukes. I try not to say the R word anymore. But that character might have been on the spectrum, and I don't know if that's the correct thing to say.
That's a great way to say it. I want to say that is his first and last acting gig ever. I haven't looked it up. But if you said, hey, Ricky, put money on this, I would gladly put money that he never acted again after that flashback.
Yeah, to me, that was the most wooden. So basically, the Shidoshi had a son who he was like, yo, this going to be the next, you know what I mean? He can be next big thing. And it's my son. So we enter into spoiler territory. Fuck it.
Dude, there's not many spoilers. Honestly, this movie does not have a lot to spoil. There's a blood sport. There's a tournament. They fight in it. That is the end of the story.
We're gonna nitpick the fuck.
I'm saying like major spoilers. That's the major spoiler. Like little things happen throughout the movie. Don't get me wrong. But if you're talking about major things to spoil, it's not. Like Van Damme fights in a tournament is the premise and also the story at the same time.
I hear you. I just feel like if anybody's going to watch this movie, which you probably won't, you should have already the concept of this is you should watch this movie. Yeah, you should watch this movie and enjoy us just tearing the shit down.
And by the way, we put up before this movie starts. Any movie 20 years or older, we're not going to apologize for spoiling the plot to this movie.
No, but I do want to give a warning in the middle, like boom, and then we. You know what I mean,
we'll try not to get too spoilers in case you want to watch it based on what we say. But like, if I slip up and give you a plot line, sorry, that movie's old as shit.
Okay, let me finish the critique of the flashback. His son was basically the shit. The Shidoshi's son was like, yo, I got this. I don't like you. You trying to steal my dad's sword. And he didn't. Van Damme and his crew, Van Damme was a hang around, and these miscreants and shit, these other kids came in this dude's crib and was like, yo, let's take stuff. Van Damme was like, I'm stupid. I just want to roll with y'all.
He was
the dude comes in, chases them out, and Van Damme is too dumb to run. He got the sword in his hand. He's like, you trying to steal my sword? Nah, I'm just here. I'm gonna call your parents, young white man.
The kid punches him in the stomach, which is a great part. Like he literally like takes the sword, punches in the stomach, and he just like
I forgot about that. So the Shidoshi basically calls his parents. His parents are like, yo, how can we work this out? He's like, I want my son to hang around your son, and he can learn the ways of blah blah, and my son can, like, I guess, integrate with society better.
He needs the white person on his side.
Yeah. So Van Damme's getting his ass kicked left and right because he's learning under the Shidoshi. And his son is also learning, but his son like, I've been here my whole life, it's my dad, so I'm naturally better than you. At some point, the son gets jumped in school. And out of nowhere, young Frank Dukes is like, oh, that training kicked in. This is my Bruce Leroy moment. I'm fucking y'all up. That's my little homie. And then they become friends. And it's like, how did you get magically better than him when this little kid who you outweigh by 40 pounds is busting your ass every time? The kid dies, and then that's how it sets up for the Shidoshi to train Frank Dukes to enter the Kumite at some point.
By the way, not a very gradual, not a very gradual step up from when he's a young kid to just Van Damme. Like literally, like one scene, the weird kid, next scene, it's Van Damme. I'm like, okay, no concept of time or anything. Like, I don't know how many years it's been or what.
What else are we gonna poke fun at, yo? My friend Ricky already talked about the silliness that was out of place like a motherfucker in this movie. For whatever reason, Frank Dukes is so bad. Like, that motherfucker is the man. The military, like, oh, Frank left. We can't go on without that dick in our lives. He's so bad. When he goes to the Kumite, they catch wind of it, and they like, he is so good of a, I don't know, agent.
They never explain what he is or what he does. I don't understand.
But they emphasize the importance that they never explain.
The movie itself explains the movie itself goes out of its way to show or talk about how important Frank Dukes is, but without ever giving a reason to why Frank Dukes is so important.
Yes.
Never explain out one time what he can do or what intel he has or what role he plays. It's just like, hey, this man is important because he's Frank Dukes, and that's the end of the reasoning.
And they are so distraught by that. They send 2 agents to bring him back. Now, if someone, like we said, they never explain why he's that central or important, because the CIA, for one, doesn't have one agent. They don't have like 5 people like running the whole show. So where if Tom leaves, they're like, Tom, damn it, we can't do the Pentagon operation. No, they got a bunch of people. And you would think if someone is that important, you're going to send top men like Indiana Jones and shit. They send an old white guy.
They send a Tommy Lee Jones light and a young Forrest Whitaker. Like, this dude is like Tommy Lee Jones on a bad day. Like on the worst day.
The worst day, dog. That you give him a lot of credit. You give him a lot. The old man is old as shit, and they send Forrest Whitaker. Now you're gonna send the old, frail man and a guy who's not old, but he has a fucked up eye to retrieve somebody who y'all think is one of y'all most important people. It's dumb. So at first you're like, all right, I could buy into this. That's how you bring Dukes up.
You think at first, but then they become the comic relief throughout that movie.
When they do confirm, it's just so thrown off. It is not serious at all. There's like 2 seconds of Frank, you coming back with us, and they literally have like a slapstick chase scene.
Oh my god, dude, that chase scene is so out of place for being so ridiculous because like not only is it like a chase scene, but then they throw in like 80s like hype party music, and then he's like he'll lose him and he'll turn around and then start smiling and walking back and like doing this and like waiting for him, or like he'll like spin around a pole. I mean, what is he doing? I don't get it.
It's like they watched the Paula Abdul video or something.
Yes.
It was like, yo, we need to put some of that straight up. And then he's like,
opposites attract.
It felt out of place, and for a movie like Bloodsport, if you're remembering it fondly, by now you shouldn't.
But again, the Bloodsport, to me, everything that happens within the Bloodsport arena or then the Kumite, like whatever that was that takes place, I feel like if you just hone in on that not like theme, but like that, like the way that attitude, whatever that is fine. It's everything on the outskirts that just doesn't make any sense at all. Like everything, like the Had Big Romance, the 2 CIA agents, everything, the weird like feuds with people like outside the bar when they're fighting over the chicken. They're like, you know, I want her, and he's like, oh, take this coin from my hand or whatever, or I took the coin from your hand. Like, because he was like Alibaba, but I feel like I'm being extra racist with this.
You're not. The movie was. The movie was like, hey, even though they're in Hong Kong, we're still going to present this in which you look down. The movie has a tone of, look at these Asian folk being just the backdrop for how cool Frank Dukes is. Like, it's like, yo, you're an American? You're not Asian? You won't have a problem with this. But I feel like some Asian people probably back in the day was like, how many fucking, like, yeah, I mean, like, the equivalent would be if there was a movie called Beat Down on Fifth Street, and this guy from Spain, I'm trying not to make it blatantly white, this guy from Spain comes to America, and everybody who's not him is like, hey, blood, where can I get me a soda? And he's like, hey, my man. And they're like, because you speak like me, I'm going to welcome you into the beatdown. It was like, I know it's kind of easy to gloss over how we almost caricaturize Asian culture, but that movie, there's times when it was like, you're making these characters so inept. No, never mind, because it was all across the board. Because that old white guy was comical. And Forrest Whitaker.
I'm just saying, like, they do hone in on like racial stereotypes, like, oh, that black guy comes from Africa. He's gonna move around like a monkey.
A monkey.
I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like, you mean to tell me this whole time he's been acting like this? What did he get his plane ticket? Was like, and he was like, sir, we need ID. He's black. It's all right. You know what I mean? Like, they made up for it though with the only other black guy being a CIA agent, but a shitty one. But you don't feel bad because his white counterpart is also a shitty agent. Nobody in this movie is as cool as Frank Dukes. That's what I as a kid, I didn't realize this was based on a real person.
It's not based on a real person, FYI. It's a person named Frank Dukes, but it's not like that version of Frank Dukes is not a real person.
No, but his ego was so inflated, and that's what drove this movie. So as a kid, nobody can be faulted for enjoying the hell out of this movie. But as an adult, looking back on it and realizing it's based on the myth of Frank Dukes, you kind of like, there was one part. What did he win, Ricky? At the end of the movie, it said he won 300 fights in a row.
Dude, he won like 395 fights in like a couple years and was never defeated. Like never. Like up to like he retired undefeated. And
he had 57 knockouts in a row. Now, I'm not a fighter, but come on, like who believes this shit? And just to overdo it, I hopped on Google, which ain't hard these days. I can understand why they bought into it in the 80s though. You know what I mean? If this dude teaching people how to fight and he tells you all these stories, you're like, he might be lying about some, but most of it got to be true. Let's make a movie about it. Kumite, oh snap. You know why they don't impress me and you? Because we were raised watching movies like this and we played Mortal Kombat, which had a lot of inspiration from that. So that concept is new to us. But I imagine if I had never heard of a secret tournament, I would be swept up too and want to make a movie about it. But I'm pretty sure the people who were making this movie at some point was like, this motherfucker lying. Like, too many things go well. Like you said, the half-baked romance. There's nothing wrong with a woman having a one-night stand. That's just real shit. That's how
I don't care. It's like her instant like concern and worry and attachment to him.
Yeah,
because
that's
like, she played it cool up until they had a date, and once she slept with him, it was like her lady brain was like, "Oh man, he put that Van Damme D on me. Now I'm in love." And I was like, "Come on now, like it's not that serious."
Her job was still a close second, so much so that when he wouldn't help her find a way into the kumite, she put that on display, and that Asian dude was like, "Damn, white lady, I'm gonna give you some of that, but to impress you, I'm gonna get you into this secret." What? My thing is this: regardless of how much pull he had, regardless of how much pull he had, when he brought her there, you mean tell me nobody was like, "Motherfucker, you can't bring her. Like, this is the kumite." No, they was like, "Let her in."
I feel like people were invited by invitation because there was a crowd that was just spectators. So I feel like maybe he had enough pull to get her an invitation, just being like, "This is my white woman. She's just a dumb white woman." And they're like, "Oh, okay, she's invited." Like she just like,
oh no, they're like, "Okay, USA." That's what they said.
So like that's fine, but like, dude, she was worried about him. She's like, "Oh, you can't do this dangerous tournament now. Like, what if you die? What's gonna happen to you? I care about you." Who she's only known for. Remember, this tournament takes place within the frame of 3 days. She met him on day one. I'm gonna be honest. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. They didn't even talk. Like she saw him. They had like a slight interaction. And on day two, I think, or maybe it was the day one. He confronted Alibaba and then put the pieces to him in the tournament.
Did he have a unibrow?
He had a unibrow and a turban. I'm like, really? The turban seemed unnecessary for the time. Maybe that's just his belief. His custom is his belief. I understand, but he didn't take the turban. He didn't take the turban off to get his ass beat. And he didn't have the turban on in the hotel, so I feel like the turban was for show.
Yes. I'll say this. I'm getting back to Nitpick City. I'm okay with tropes if there's enough around it that's good enough. The woman needs to be an object of men's affection trope. We get it, it's the 80s. We will always love that decade, right? But it was shit in this movie, and it was also shit in Cyborg. But to stick to the Bloodsport, the woman, for whatever reason, was stupid. Yes, she was.
That is true.
She's supposed to be a reporter, and I'm gonna give you this alley. I'm not gonna steal your points. I feel like it's
no, you take it because I didn't say it because you brought up the point of how stupid she is. So that's a great segue into what we talked about before. She's so stupid that she brings her purse, slides out a tape recorder, and hits record. Mind you, people, we are watching a karate tournament. I don't understand what the audio evidence is going to show when you're trying to convince people that there's a secret karate tournament. She could have went to a Schumann's karate. I'm trying to think of that. Like the karate kids go to. Is it Schumann's? Showman's?
Yeah, Showman's. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Showman's karate after school at 5 o'clock and hear the same thing she could have heard at this kumite. Yep. Except for they were all chanting kumite, which you could have got 3 dudes to chant that at the same time. Like that's not any evidence. You can't take that to court.
It isn't. But don't forget to point out, before she pulled that tape recorder out of her purse, she made sure to look left and right that the coast was clear.
She was like, I don't want anyone to see what I'm taking out of my purse because they might judge me on how stupid I am.
Yeah. It was like yep. This is a secret tournament, blood. She had that tape recorder. Oh, she can't report his voice. You're right. So, but she was stupid before that. She was stupid like this. She's supposed to be this reporter who wants to get the scoop on a secret tournament. So she goes to Hong Kong and sits in a bar. And not only does she get upset when men hit on her, I get it. A woman doesn't always want to be hit on, but she went there to entice men so that she can ask them questions. And she looks at these 2 Asian men and says, "Hey guys, you know anything about the secret fighting tournament?" Now, even if they weren't aware of the secret fighting tournament, they could be like, "Bitch, we just here to get a drink. This is a bar." That was very racist. But I viewed it as stupid because if you ask someone about a secret fighting tournament, and those are your first words, they're probably not going to tell you about the secret fighting tournament. So it's bad writing. Then she somehow scares them off and links up with Frank at some point in the movie. So Frank is like,
that's like later on. I think he meets her or he walks by her when she's trying to do her thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a part where they're in the same scene, but they don't interact. And then the next time they interact, it's like when he saves her. Yeah, because they're in the same hotel. But by the way, in the hotel, everyone is talking about the Kumite out loud. So it is a secret. But she's also bad reported because she can't even figure out a karate tournament, which everyone is openly discussing about. Literally, it's like, dude, I'm from the Kumite. What room am I from? And I'm like, you're very loud. You're at reception. People can hear you. Like, yes. You're not like.
I ain't gonna front. The one thing I did like, even though it was also, again, nobody was speaking low about the Kumite, I did like the grandeur that it seemed like it lived up to when they sent my man to make sure that fighters made their way to the place. He was like, look, y'all don't get fucked up over here. If you do anything outside of the tournament, you'll be disqualified. I like that. It was like this prestige that came with it. Like, they really take this so seriously. They send people like him out to make sure the fighters stay on course. Because if you bring negative attention or attention in general to the Kumite, you're ruining the sanctity of this thing that's been long upheld. Which, for whatever reason, now we talk about, and since Frank Dukes wanted, that shit no longer a secret. But before then, I like the mystique that came with it. And one plus, I can't give it a number, but one thing I will not complain about is this movie's fucking soundtrack. I loved it. Like, there's the one song, Fight to Survive, where they just say Kumite like 4 times in the chorus. And I love it. I love it. You know,
that makes sense. Well, what was I going to say too? Well, I totally forgot. But, in my mind, I thought the Asian dude who was supposed to be their guide was their friend. Like, my young mind had made it seem like, they're the 3 best friends. You know, Frank Dukes, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and this Asian dude with the glasses. But then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, wait, they don't even know each other that well. Like, he's just their guy. They've known each other for like a couple days. They have like no relationship to each other.
To be fair, the same thing with Ray Jackson or Ray Mercer. Ray Jackson, he wasn't his lifetime homie. He met him the same. Everybody fell in love with Frank Dukes the minute they met. He beat him in a video game, and they was homies. So much so that when Ray got his ass beat, and Ray talked that ass whooping up, I gotta point that out. For we're made to think that Chong Li is a terrible person. He is, by the way. He is.
Oh yeah.
But when he beat Ray ass, Ray talked that up because the minute they saw Chong Li, Ray made sure to point at him and say, I'm going to kill you. You're talking to somebody who is known to kill people in a tournament that you don't have to kill people in. And you say, I'm going to kill you. It's almost like for years, I wouldn't watch Rocky IV. And Ricky knows this. That broke my heart watching Apollo Creed die. Not just die, but get beat to death. Yeah. I think a year or two ago, I finally mustered up the courage to watch that movie again. Matter of fact, I watched it before Creed came out, so it was more than a year or two. I didn't realize how much mouth Apollo Creed had. I ain't gonna say he talked
that ass up.
he didn't deserve to die, but he talked hella shit. And I always viewed Drago as evil for saying if he dies, he dies. He wasn't. He just didn't give a fuck. There's a big difference between evil and.
See, that's what to me, Chong Li like crosses that line where like Drago beat the dude up, he dies. It's like he didn't go out of his way. Oh, he didn't go out of his way, but like he was just doing. He killed him in the boxing ring. He didn't like come out, stab him a couple times, whatever. Chong Li was like, oh, I have this man defeated. I'm still going to murder him just for like GP.
Other people, yes, I'm definitely gonna give Chong Li the bad rap that he's earned. But Ray, if he would have, because he didn't. I thought for all this time, I thought he killed Ray. If he would have killed Ray, I'm gonna say this: if after OJ got off the hook for killing Nicole, and some dude get a not even a knife, but you know the thing at the end of the fingernail clippers where you scrape this crap out of your fingernails.
Yeah.
I'm rolling down the street, and he like, yo, there go bitch ass OJ, and he say, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, bro, that is the last person to say that to. He killed white people and didn't go to jail. Don't do it. don't do it. So for years, I always viewed it like, oh man, he beat up Van Damme's best friend, which he wasn't, and he killed him. So he was evil. He was evil for all the other shit he did. When he beat the fuck out of Ray, Ray talked that ass whooping up. That's all I'm saying.
It was kind of justified. It wasn't. It was like the thing I care least about in that movie because I was like, dude, you literally went out of your way to talk shit to Chung Lee. You got what you deserve.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I get why Frank Dukes needed the motivation, but he didn't need any motivation because he was going to fight the dude in the finals anyway. Like,
Yes.
even if Chung Lee didn't kill Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he would have beat him. Like, plain and simple, because first of all, that man had 0 moves. He had 2 moves. He used all 2 in the first round, and he ain't bring nothing else to the table.
Yeah, I really wish, again, though, 80s awesomeness carried that movie, you know, but I know they had to feed into the stereotype of brute American strength where we just crazy and if you white and big, that's your game plan. But that's kind of underselling white people because Frank Dukes was white. I don't think he was Canadian. He was Canadian.
At some point, he moved to the United States, so I know he wasn't American like at first.
He wasn't American, but motherfucker was white because the actual Frank Dukes is, I think, Canadian, dog.
Okay.
So it was like
you can never fool me into believing that Jean-Claude Van Damme is anything but poor. Like whatever role he's playing in a movie, I'm like, nah. Sorry, sir, you're not from Chicago.
Yeah. Hey, Shawty, I wouldn't even know how to whole time. I don't know. We already talked about how half big the romance was because it was like a one night. It's cool for her to care about him. I care about any girl who I'm intimate with at least a little bit. But you know, like if she was like, Chris, I'm gonna go fight that girl across the street, and I just was with her last night, I'm like, hey, you probably don't want to do that. And she catch a mean ass 2-piece, I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be like, I told you not to do that. You know,
her relationship to the Kumite was confusing because it didn't seem like she was trying to stop it at first. She just seemed like she was trying to uncover it. But then she became this like altruistic, like good do-gooder where it was like, now I have to like, I want to rail against the violence and the bloodshed and the.
Which is so bullshit. I'm listening.
No, I'm saying like that. It seemed to only come from once he gave her the Van D, you know.
Yo, he should have used that. I'm sure he has at some point. He's like, God, are you ready for the Van D? Like, yeah. Oh man. Yes. For her to be so livid all of a sudden, like this is brutal. Let me just call it a secret fighting tournament. But now Frank got his ass waxed a little bit. Or no, she watched Ray get beat up, and that's what she was like. That could be you. I'm like, you knew he was fighting this whole time. So, yes, that was terrible. And then come to find out, yo, she didn't even leave with him. She stayed in Hong Kong when he left.
Wait, my thing is, did she live there? Because it never said she traveled to China or Hong Kong, or was she just always there?
I always assumed because she was so out of place. Like you would think she would have more tact talking to people in Hong Kong. Hey guys, you here for the secret fighting tournament? They was like, and they got up and left. Like they probably got off work and shit. Like, you know, hey, let's go have a beer, bro. And like, it's so racist. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like if I'm at Caldor taking a way back, and somebody comes,
hilarious.
and somebody like, hey fella, how you feel about Tupac? I'm like, I'm here for Scotch tape. Like, what? That's so yeah, it's unnecessary. Like, what do you? I feel like I don't. If you really enjoyed Bloodsport, let it be great in your mind. Don't watch it again. Just let that memory linger. And people who talk shit about it, like me, just disregard it. But if you're curious on why it doesn't stand the test of time, because that's one of the important questions. Do you feel like it aged well, Ricky?
No, I feel like it literally is a time capsule movie where it's like, hey, you want to see a fighting movie from the 80s? Because this is pure 80s. Like, it does not transcend. It's not one of those movies where it's like, this lesson or this action or these characterizations are so timeless. No, this is literally like this is a 1980 whatever.
Yeah.
And this is never going to be anything but that. And the action, like you said, for a fighting tournament doesn't even hold up that well. Like the most memorable fight is in the finals with Chung Lee and Frank Dukes, but it's not even memorable for the action that's happening. It's memorable for the ridiculousness of Frank Dukes being blinded by obvious chalk thrown in his face, and then hearkening back to training he had with his Sadoshi about blindfoldingly doing things, like learning how to function blindfolded. So then he had to like just remember that training, be blindfolded, and still beat the reigning Kumite champion. Like he didn't just beat like some random dude in like round 1 with this move. He beat the reigning Kumite champion blinded. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, the fighting didn't hold up to me either. Like as a kid, I always thought Van Damme actually knew martial arts. What I'm starting to think is he was just really good at faking it. What I learned was Van Damme actually did ballet, which I'm not shitting on, because Patrick Swayze in that move and Dirty Dancing when he catches her, I wish I could do that. Women love shit like that. You ain't gonna look cool in the tutu if you're a man, but as studying ballet, I'm not gonna shit on it. It has this hold on, I'm gonna get my lighting just right.
Okay.
I like this. Yeah. Starting to get a little evening, so But yeah, I'm starting to think Van Damme actually didn't know martial arts before his movie career. I saw this one thing where he was in the credits, he was mentioned as, I think, you don't think I'm making this up, dog? Gay car driver. And it's like, okay. Oh man, like that's a whole different tangent. I'm sorry.
But I will say I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do karate or any martial arts before that. It seems like he's just a physical specimen, and I think he takes to learning the choreography very well. So like someone who probably knew martial arts probably taught him what to do, and he's great at mimicking it. But he's very gifted, like athletically.
Yes, but did you think that as a kid too? I used to think he knew.
No, I thought he was a freaking black belt, master karate, whatever. Like now, I'm just like the veil is like lifted from my child eyes, and I'm like, oh, this dude was just like a charming stunt double, pretty much. Like he's just a guy who's like can do great stunts, but like somehow you can put him in front of a camera and he just does enough.
Yes,
that's his career. He's just done enough.
There's an old movie where Billy Blanks, of all people, is the villain. And I say of all people because, no lie, I knew him from the what's that shitty
Tybo?
Yeah, Tybo. And I only remember that because I remember Nas called Jay-Z a Tybo ho. This is a great insult. Billy Blanks to me was always like this black dude, like super black dude who could fight, but he's going to teach your mom and your auntie how to stay fit with aerobics. But you better play him. That's always what I thought. I didn't know that he was getting down and actually had a movie career and B movies of the 80s. He used to be big as fuck too. To me, you shouldn't be able to be huge and agile. You know what I'm saying? Like when you pick a big character in a video game, you lose out on something. Not with him. He did this one move where he jumps up and crushes this guy's head with his feet or his knees or some shit like that. So I always knew Billy Blanks had a real background. And as a kid, I thought the same thing for Van Damme. So as an adult, hearing on Google, on YouTube, that he didn't really fight before his movie career, kind of makes me like, oh man, that makes me sad. I don't know why. I guess because I always thought he had that background. Bloodsport, I can't give it a number. I'll say this. If you just want to enjoy a cheesy ass movie and not nitpick, go for it. But if you're afraid of your childhood, don't do it.
I can't recommend this movie because I feel like you could probably get another movie that is higher quality that's going to give you the same thing you're jonesing. So like, if
what would you watch instead of Bloodsport though?
Ooh, that's hard to think.
That's what I mean. I don't mean just the 80s cool action movie, because if that's the case, I recommend.
There was an awesome movie where it was a karate. It was a American karate team trying to qualify for the Olympics, and they like had this like ragtag team of people who like had to get together and learn how to work well, and like they would show like them training or them fighting against other people, so like them versus Japan or them versus like whatever, and the fights were cool because there was like these cool choreographed fights where they were like trying to like get to the Olympics, but it's like, but you from the wrong side of the tracks, and you're, you know, you don't understand because you are like born with a silver spoon, and they like fought each other. And I wish I could remember the name of the movie, but I really like that movie. So I guess I would like recommend something like
Sounds
that.
interesting. When's the last time? What age were you? What age were you last seen it?
I like 8 or 9. Like I feel like all these movies are like around the same time frame. So like, I feel like it's an early '90s movie, and I probably could find it like with a simple search these days because Google knows everything.
No.
But so let's all right. So we decided what we thought about the movie. Now we move on to our next Van Damme flick, you know. And I'm saying Time Cop is my suggestion because I feel like that's one of those movies where you think because of like the high concept that it might be better than it is. I don't think it's any better than a Van Damme movie can be.
Whoa, bro, whoa. All right. I'm going to say, and even though I might be setting myself up for failure, I feel like we've cleared the worst.
Ooh, listen, it can get way worse.
I feel like the only time it hits worse is the Van Damme movies that didn't hit theaters. Like I don't care for that one with him and Dennis Rodman. It was
we're only gonna do theatrical releases. So if we gotta look it up, we'll look it up. But I'm pretty sure like a lot of these movies came out in theaters in the '80s. So like I'm talking about like Time Cop. Like what was another one? We already talked about Sudden Death. I want to watch. Where he's like you know, the guy in the hockey arena.
Oh man, I don't want to fucking overdo it with the Van Damme. All right, cool. So Sudden Death, I'll sit through that. You know why Sudden Death is one of my least favorite? Because that's back in the VHS days. The whole shit is in VHS days, but like when I used to go down south to see my family, my uncles and my cousins would rent movies all the time. And for whatever reason, Sudden Death was my cousin's shit. So every time there was a time where I was like, I'm tired of seeing Van Damme on ice. Like it was like, yo, like you know what I mean, with the mullet. I get it. We want, you know, if you want.
Let me turn my light on.
All right.
Get a little dark up in here.
And hell is hot. Whoo, I'm glad to be done with that Belgian white.
That's better. But yeah, so like I would definitely like to watch Sudden Death again. Then if we want to get abstract, we can pick a couple random ones, but I just want to stick to like big theatrical releases, movies that you can easily associate with Van Damme. I don't want to be going into like the trenches trying to pick like random Van Damme movies.
I'm definitely on board with. I feel like we're relatively safe with that, though. I feel like I'll even give that movie a number. No lie, yo.
You sign this check, but eventually you're gonna have to cash it.
Again, I definitely think it's coming with cheese, but there are memorable parts for me. Like I remember when he went back in time and the old dude did like this, and Van Damme and almost Schwarzenegger-esque had a bit of comedy. He was like, "You guys really did fight like this," and I thought that was hilarious when I was a kid. I think I was like 11 or I might have been 11 because my oldest niece might not have been born yet. That movie might have came out in '95 or something, yo.
It might have.
And that's I remember the Street Fighter trailer played before that.
Are you mentioning Street Fighter because we're gonna watch Street Fighter?
No,
listen,
no,
I'll watch it.
I hear you, bro, but you know me, I love Mortal Kombat, the movie, because I love
that might be the worst Van Damme movie, hands down.
It might, and I can't suffer through that, bro. Like I don't want to get into territory where we're like sitting through something knowing like we're just gonna be like, God, like, no, hell no. Like I'll find out if something is shit, but I can't go into it knowing like, yo, man, people said this was shit. Should we eat it? Nah, nope. And you know I love Street Fighter the video game, so I hate that movie. You know what I'm saying? I love Mortal Kombat because it was one of the first movies where it took the video game seriously, and it was it was a crowd pleaser. Like that was fan service through and through. You know what I'm saying? They had Scorpion and Sub-Zero beefing, but they only didn't beef because they served under Shang Tsung. They had Shang Tsung saying, "Your soul is mine." They had Reptile being announced by this disembodied voice, like in a fucking game, and Bruce Lee did the bicycle kick. You know what I mean? Like, that was excellent to me. So I will always hate Street Fighter the movie, even though I never gave it a chance.
Wait, you've never seen it?
I've never watched that movie, dog.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta watch it now. Now I know you've never seen it. It's like, come on, like.
Dog, it had DJ being played by the dude from that lawyer show.
You don't gotta tell me. I'm well aware of a movie that has Raul Julia and Van Damme and Mr. Juana Man.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it. You have to say it, Ricky. Fucking Street Fighter the movie killed.
It killed him. Yeah, it did. It really did kill him.
Movie, yo. That was his last movie. I love dude from Addams Family. F that movie, yo. F that movie to hell. I think the Street Fighter movie where Ryu was like just this random guy who might be Asian. Like his granddad might have been Asian. Like, fuck that movie, yo. Fuck that movie. I can't do it.
I know you haven't seen it, but like I always wonder what's worse. Not that I want to see either one or even do anything about it, even though it would be a funny like podcast. What's worse, Street Fighter or the Legend of Chun-Li Street Fighter or whatever? My phone's about to die, by the way.
Oh man.
But you heard what I said? The Legend of Chun-Li or wait, plug it in and see if it works. Okay, hold on. Might have plugged it in time. I think I saved it.
Perfect. Dog, I don't feel like no movie can be as bad as Street Fighter. I know
the Legend of Chun-Li is pretty bad.
I heard his shit, but also, you know that movie we saw with Zoe Saldana? Cute.
It's dying. I'm almost dying. Goodbye, sir.
Oh, man. Do you want to stop? Yes.